Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to this week's weekly energy boost. My name is Elisheva, and I am stuck in deep thought. This morning, I'm here with David, and we are excited to share with you how to get unstuck. And I think that before we even get into it, the name of the game is knowing the name, right? Knowing, you have to know that you're stuck and what you're stuck in order to make that game plan. And we're going to talk today about once you do realize, and this is the week to recognize it, once you do recognize where you're at, you can acknowledge it, you can be honest and admit it, then you can strategize. And we're going to help you with all of the above today.
Some of the topics I think we're going to be covering are the need for approval, addiction to energy. Sometimes we're a slave to external forces, and we might not consider that being stuck, but I think Kabbalah does a great job of identifying those unseen cancer cells before they take shape and manifest in our spiritual lives. So we're going to talk about several different possible areas where the energy could be blocked, even if you're not experiencing it in your life right now, because this week gives us the ability to recognize those unseen blockages so that we can transform them and not have them manifest as chaos later in our lives.
So if you know anybody, I'm sure you know at least one person, if not present company included, that needs help getting a grip, moving forward, shifting from I'm sorry to call it like this, but a bad space to a better space. Share the show with them. You know, you may be watching live on Facebook right now, but we're also on Instagram, IGTV. We're on YouTube. You can share the show through iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, CastBox, Stitcher. You can subscribe. You can let us know. But I think I want to put a question out there to everybody to already get your wheels turning. What are those habits? And the habit might be a thought pattern, right? What are those habits that are just too hard for you to break? Those, like David was saying, addictions. I think we when we hear the word addiction, we tend to go to the hard stuff. Right. But you know, being jealous and judging people is an addiction. We get energy from it. It makes us feel better than other people, or we find a way to skew what we don't like to our advantage. So dig deep for a minute, look inside and think about what are the things that just those situations, those positions you find yourselves in, those thought patterns. Sometimes it's even like a speech pattern, a thing we say over and over and over again. Where are you stuck? What is a habit that seems too hard for you to break? And you can share it with us in the comments, and we may even get to dissect some of them by the end of the show.
I think one of the things that we also talk about in our spiritual path is that the blessings that we're looking for in life, the miracles we're all fighting for, the fulfillment, or maybe we're having some trouble with family, kids, business, your love life. Kabbalah shows that there's a direct correlation between our spiritual work and manifesting those blessings that we're looking for. And what does spiritual work mean? Spiritual work starts with, where am I reacting to external energy? Where am I addicted to some form of external energy? The Kabbalists break it down into three main sections. They call it lust. Lust basically encompasses, well, it's hot in here. It's getting hot in here. I'm taking off my
David says lust, and already it's too hot in here.
And the AC goes off. Lust represents all forms of instant gratification that we're looking for, all the pleasures of this physical world, which are actually meant to be revealed. Mm-hmm. We learn in Kabbalah that all, if it's the pleasure we get from eating food, if it's sexual pleasure, if it's the pleasures of life, of traveling and enjoying the beauty of life, we're actually meant to reveal them. However, when they control us, when it's the second bite of the apple, right? The first one I do for the right intention, but the second one I need to be happy. If there's any substance I'm using that I need, and without it, I would be sad, I would be depressed, I would feel like there's no point in life. We have to look at those areas, because those are the areas where the light of the Creator is trapped and the blessings are trapped. And if I can transform and rise above those addictions in the category of lust, it can be in we have points, we'll go through them, but once I unlock them, and we'll give tools of how to unlock that negativity, how to break that addiction, then we're going to see manifestations of miracles in all different parts of our lives. If it's honor, people have an addiction to approval, to the need to be respected.
So honor is the second one.
Yeah, honor represents all the things where I need that other people feel about me. If it's approval, if it's a position, if it's status, if it's the need to be relevant. I think people have this constant rat race to be relevant and to put out content. I mean, we could fall in this trap of we need to put out content for our audience. We need to be relevant. Otherwise, there's going to be a problem. If there's also the need to like have your parents like you, the need to, get your dad's respect. Those are all things that fall under the need to be the best. If I'm not the best, I'm sad. If I'm not number one, I don't feel good. That is an addiction, and that is something we can talk about. And then we have jealousy. Jealousy is a third category where people desire and crave other people's stuff, wishing harm on other people, having destroyer consciousness. We've talked about it in many sessions, where I will look at someone and I just think, well, they don't deserve that. I play God. I start thinking I know. And as soon as I think I know and I start putting that energy out there, that evil eye energy, that is an addiction that as well limits us and holds us back.
Well, that goes back to something we've spoken about in different shows in different ways is, having that addiction to drama. And sometimes the jealousy is the catalyst for that, right? So you see somebody that's successful and then you think, well, they must have done something underhanded to get there, or you start to create a story or a movie about their lives, and then you can't wait to see what happens next, and it becomes this vicious cycle. I think there's a lot of comments that...
Do you have questions and comments on your feed?
What I want to do is I want to make sure that we cover the backdrop, and then we can go into specifics and see what category they fill in and how to break free from them.
Okay.
One of the things that we said we're going to talk about today is that opposing force within each of one of us. We call it the opponent, or sometimes we call it the ego, but the idea that there is an innate part of us, and it's not really us. That's the illusion there, that we think that the jealousy, the desire for anybody to fail, anyone else, the desire for someone else to fall, all of those negative thoughts or desires we may have, we think it's us.
Yes.
And I want to put out there, I know a lot of people who listen to the show are not or have not yet studied Kabbalah. Kabbalah teaches that negative force is not us. It's something separate and distinct from us. It's a part of creation. It's a force that was created to give us the opportunity to become our best selves of our own volition, and not because somebody said, you're the best, you deserve it all. But we actually get, because of it, to earn and to work through and to overcome and to have that sense of creatorship.
Right.
So even though you may, hopefully through the help of this show, recognize those places where you're stuck, those thought patterns, those behavior patterns that are keeping you limited, but know that force, that darkness isn't you. You're not a bad person. You're not a jealous person. You're not an angry person. You may have anger, but that's not who your true nature is. That is not who you truly are.
One of my students was messaging me yesterday, and she said, I just realized that even though in the study of Kabbalah, we talk about manifesting through our spiritual work, love your neighbor as yourself, right? That's our goal, that we can get to a place where just the way the Creator is a giving, sharing force, we want to emulate that force. And so we transform to be this sharing force. But the real secret of love your neighbor as yourself is you have to love yourself, which means that the vessel, us, the souls of humanity, this is what we learn in Kabbalah 1, was created to receive everything in life. So we are here in this world to manifest so much pleasure. In fact, whatever pleasure we think we want is just a fraction of what the Creator is anticipating and waiting. What's going on?
I can't open the water.
Why can't you open it? It's too hard, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Glad most of you didn't have to see me struggle with that.
So
anyways, go on.
It's like the Creator wants to give us even more than we desire to receive. Now, that being said, the problem is that we're not treating our vessel appropriately to be able to receive. A girl messaged me on Instagram yesterday, and she said she's been into my live classes, and she moved away, and she asked, why is it that every time something good is about to happen, and it's happening, it's almost happening, it's almost there, at the finish line, I'm tripping, and the good thing doesn't manifest? What could it be? What could be the blockage that I have? And maybe a lot of us listening to the show might have that issue. You work really hard. You see that there's some kind of fulfillment that's ready to come to be part of you. But at the last second, it doesn't manifest. What could be one spiritual reason why? And it goes to love your neighbor as you love yourself, meaning you have to first love yourself. So for her, it could simply be a belief system that she doesn't deserve. So even though she wants, the craving to receive draws the energy, but the belief system that she shouldn't receive makes sure that energy at the last moment doesn't enter. That blessing does not manifest. And that addiction, that is an addiction. That belief system of I don't deserve is a way of thinking that makes us feel safe, makes us feel protected, it makes us stay in our comfort zone. It gives us energy. It gives us energy the way chocolate gives us energy, or the way a cigarette will give someone energy, or the way flirting will give energy. Negative belief systems, limited belief systems, in this case, the belief system that I don't deserve, also feeds these little tastes, these little pleasures that we call them. And that's why people hold on to these negative belief systems.
Well, the number one response we have so far in the comments is procrastination. And I'd love to tackle that, because that to me is a innocuous one. That doesn't look like it's hurting anybody but me. And it seems to be not a negative desire, but just a lack of positive desire, right? So it's not lust unless it is, because the idea of playing it safe and staying in my comfort zone, not needing to make an effort. I remember myself as a fledgling Kabbalah student sitting in a class and hearing about, what brought me back into this lifetime, feeling, learning the laws of reincarnation as Kabbalah teaches it, and suddenly feeling this like, oh my God, I got to get the job done. Right? What am any second that I waste is like creating chaos and havoc in the world, and I've got to do everything I can to we use the word proactive so much, but to really take the bull by the horns and not let anything fall to the wayside or take a back burner when it comes to my growth and transformation. And I see that a lot of people are too busy to work, right? And what ends up, to me, procrastinating is a byproduct of I have so much to do, and the only way I'm going to do it is if it's due tomorrow. There's a lot of people out there like that they feel that inspiration hits them when there's a deadline or when there's a pressure or they're waiting for a miracle. But that energy of waiting or putting things off is really draining the energy from everything else that they do.
I would say 9 out of 10 people, you and I can fall in this category. 9 out of 10 people are motivated simply by pain. So what happens is the body's natural state is to be static and to do nothing until pain pushes us and motivates us to do something. Kabbalistically, what's happening is your potential must be revealed. This potential that it's like outside of you, we call it the surrounding light. It surrounds you and it must be revealed. So even if you say you don't want to rise to your destiny, even if you say that you're comfortable right where you are, you can't stop that surrounding potential of yours that wants to be revealed. And this is the problem most people face. They ignore this surrounding light because it's always there. They ignore their destiny and they say, I'm good the way where I am. So what happens is pain will come and push them and motivate them to change. We want to get out of this mindset. If you're listening right now and you can connect with what we're talking about, we want to not be that person that only is proactive when there's pain, only is proactive when something's taken away, only is proactive when the relationship starts to deteriorate, only is proactive when your kids are actually showing signs that they're being dysfunctional. That's when people all of a sudden spring into action.
Firefighting.
Exactly. It's firefighting.
Most of us are I don't think it comes from it's not malicious.
Right.
It's simply the natural desire of the body is to be still rather than be in action. So we tend to wait until action is necessary rather than taking the action when you have the freedom of when to do it, how to do it, how much to give. By the time we actually jump into action, we have to give 120%. Otherwise, the building's going to burn down. And I see a lot of the people, and I know some of them are chiming in on in the comments. You do have a lot to do, right? You may be a parent, an employee, a partner, a spouse, a daughter, a brother. Whatever. You have probably not a daughter and you get what I'm saying.
Hopefully not a daughter.
Anyway, you have a lot to do in the 1%. 1% is the way we call the physical reality. Your to-do list in the material world is long. But Kabbalah comes and says, and I think we even talked about this a little bit last week, your spirituality needs to be at the top of the list. And then you will have the energy, the wherewithal, the vision, the insight, the stamina, the power, the organizational skills to tackle the rest of the to-do list. And the more we prioritize our connection with the light, with our soul, with the Creator, the more we will be, not, by the way, that'll cancel out half the things on the to-do list, right? The reason the to-do list is so long is because we're not proactively preventing forest fires. We're waiting till the air quality is unbreathable, and then we're going to start to put them out.
So what's one step that we can take forward? Everyone who's listening, and everybody wants something. We all want some kind of pleasure. To realize that the greatest pleasure is when we're fully connected to the network of creation. That's what everybody wants. Anybody who's trying to be part of a religion, a spiritual path, Kabbalah or not, even an atheist, deep down inside, our soul desires the greatest pleasure that exists. And this great pleasure is a relationship with the Creator, is a relationship with this universal energy that is embedded within every aspect of creation. That is the greatest pleasure. Because then I feel every part of me is alive, every part of me is fulfilled, every part of me is like, it has energy flowing through it. And wherever I go, I create physical miracles and spiritual miracles wherever I go. So this is the highest level fulfillment that we can ask for. That being said, it's important to start every morning with each one of us establishing what our goals and desires are. What do I want? What am I trying to achieve today? Because if I don't establish that first thing in the morning consciously, then I'm allowing my day to control me and to guide me. And as a result, that's why I always feel out of control and I feel reactive to life. A person has to set goals every morning. What are some of our goals, Elisheva, that we set every morning? All right. What we've learned through Kabbalah, I've learned that I need to set higher goals than maybe, I'm trying to be successful here or successful there in the physical world. Actually, when you set higher goals, it includes all the physical goals as well. So, for example, for me, one goal that our teachers have taught us is the goal of having certainty in everything in life. Certainty in the Creator, certainty in myself, certainty in my soul, certainty in my giving, just certainty. Not having doubts control me. This is one of the biggest goals of all of mankind.
Okay, that's what I wanted to say. It's not, looking at David. David, you're so noble and so spiritual. You have certainty as a goal. If you think about it, having certainty would solve everything else, right? Everybody, you may not call it certainty. We call it certainty. Certainty is feeling secure, feeling safe, feeling taken care of, knowing that everything is going to be okay, knowing that everything is okay, knowing that the Creator has your back. Not you really, like, imagine walking through life without fear, without worry, without doubt, without suspicion, without conspiracy theories, being so plugged in that you have nothing to worry about. Nothing wakes you up at night, in a cold sweat. You are at peace. That, correct me if I'm wrong, that is at the core of every human being's desire. We just might think that it's so far away from us that we don't put it on our to-do list. I left you speechless.
It was so good you left me speechless. Well, no, I just lost my train of thought. I was about to say something.
Well, but okay, I'll keep talking.
Keep going,
so you can
I'll chime in a moment.
Recalibrate.
Yeah.
To me, when I look at somebody, or when I look at the people I work with, the people in my life, the people that I do admire are the ones who are vibrating at a very high certainty level, right? Why? Because through them, you feel calm. You feel your own conviction strengthened. You feel that it is going to be okay, right? You have those people that you call when you're worried and they make you feel like it's going to be okay. Where does that okay come from? They may be brilliant speakers or they know exactly what to say to you, but that that is one of my goals, to be somebody who radiates that energy to the point that it's contagious, that people through my certainty feel, wow, it is going to be okay. It's not only going to be okay, it is okay already. It's going to be even better. And I don't say that I'm any more elevated or plugged in than anybody else. It's just that constant reminder. A lot of times we get these questions in the comments. Well, how do we get there? How do we get there? It's practice, right? How does a person who is overweight lose the weight, or how does the person who's not healthy get healthy? It takes effort. But it's a lot easier to work on your certainty than be busy putting fires out in every area of your life.
So we've spoken about many different things, and we talked about how to overcome addictions to external energies. And while we could speak a lot more about those addictions, the first tool that we've given is to set a very high level goal. And in Kabbalah, we learned that one of the highest level goals is to become like the Creator. One of the qualities of becoming like the Creator is to... You're getting hot.
We're not playing strip poker here. It's just getting very warm in the room. Okay.
So one of the highest level goal for all of our listeners to know is waking up in the morning and saying, I want to be like the Creator. Yes, there's a lot going on in life. There's a lot of little fires I got to put out. There's a lot of things I need to manifest. There's a lot of bills I need to pay. But let's not forget, the goal is to become like the Creator. One of the qualities of the Creator is certainty. Certainty, and that means living in the now, dealing with issues in life, but dealing with them with certainty. If you have a chaotic situation, deal with it with certainty. Certainty that I know this is coming from the Creator. Certainty that this is going to be good, even if I cannot see. Because every time I have that level of certainty, I rise above the body consciousness, the five senses, my eyes that say, oh, it looks like this, my ears that say it sounds like this.
Or doctors say it's going to be like this.
And all the people around me, the statistics say it must be like this. Every time I have certainty, I'm rising above the physical reality. And as a result, I start to control the physical reality and I start to control the energy. If we're tired of having the energy controlling us, the backdoor way to overcome any addiction is to start to strengthen our certainty in the Creator and certainty in life, in everything. Okay, let's say, for example, you're in a relationship and you're not sure if this is the right relationship. So you have doubts. This is a common issue that the Kabbalah one I just recently started, a lot of people in this class are kind of like on the fence about their relationships. So what do they do in this case? To say, I don't know if this is the right person, but I know that it's okay that I don't know. That's certainty. You don't need to know everything. Not knowing something is not doubt. Being worried about not knowing something is doubt. It's the worry and the fear. That's the doubt.
Right. And
that's what disconnects you. It's okay not to know. But I have certainty that I don't know, and I have certainty that I will know.
A lot of people confuse certainty with confidence. Right? I know this person is the one. That's not certainty according to Kabbalah. That's confidence.
Right.
That's I might even say that's arrogance, right? Knowing that someone is or isn't, that something is or isn't, is actually a way to diminish the amount of light in any given situation. Because I've coached a lot of people, as they gear up for marriage, and one thing that we practice constantly is, if this person is the one, amazing, let's have it. But if it's not the one, if this person isn't the one, I want to find out in the best way possible. Right. Like I'm not so attached to the person that I'm willing to take a wrong turn in my journey. I'd rather know I'm taking a wrong turn and not take it and have my heart broken. And that's, again, such a level of desire to do the work of your soul. It's not obviously for everybody. It's not something that comes easily, but starting to have that desire, to be that connected, to have that thirst it really is a sense of urgency that if I don't do the thing that I'm procrastinating, and maybe we can switch to a different bad habit, but if I don't by doing the things that I'm procrastinating, if you are a procrastinator, your mantra should be just do it. Just do something. And the fact that you start to do more will shift the energy. You may say, well, I don't do anything because I don't know what to do. Don't worry about it. Like David said, it's okay not to know, but it's not okay to be stagnant. It's not okay to be inactive. We have to be constantly in motion, constantly flowing like the light.
We want to reemphasize this point. If you don't know something, it's okay not to know it. It's okay not to know it. Just you can't be worried about the fact that you don't know it. If you don't know what's going to happen in some part of your life, that's okay. Just say today controls the future and it also controls the past. This moment is the only moment where I can plant seeds of energy. The most powerful seed to plant is certainty that it's going to be okay. Certainty that everything the Creator wants to give me, I will receive at some point. Now, to expedite that process of receiving, I'm going to keep planting positive seeds. All the different things that we learn in Kabbalah. Transformation, maybe start to identify areas where we're addicted to energy. So if it is procrastination, what would I do if I feel lethargic and I don't want to do anything, or I feel complacent? And we have to go to war with our opponent at that moment. And for me, something that works is visualizing what it would be like if I lost certain blessings. How would I be reacting? Right? It's kind of a fear tactic I use on myself.
Well, the threat of pain is often, right? Some people are waiting for the pain. You can train yourself to fear the threat of pain.
That's right.
And even though it seems like the same thing, it's a higher level because you're not waiting for the sting. You just, you know that if I don't take steps now, there may be repercussions, and I want to intercept those repercussions before they can even gain traction. Mm-hmm. Can we talk some more about the
lust?
Well, I want to go to the more subtle tricks of the opponent. Please. Because I think when if we would interview 100 of our listeners right now, we'd say, what are some tricks of the opponent? They'd say laziness, procrastination, gossip, anger, the sort of obvious ones.
Yes.
I think we have some less obvious ones that are pretty important. And, I would categorize in the same family as laziness and procrastination. You have apathy, right? People who don't care or can't be bothered or have lost the desire or the drive to take action.
Yeah.
What would you 30-second remedy for apathy?
I would say that there has to be I think when a person starts to give and just share, even without thinking, without logic, I think sometimes we overthink things. Just start the process of looking for ways to give and getting outside yourself. Because as soon as you give energy, you receive more energy from the Creator. So one of the reasons why a person feels that they don't desire anything is because they don't feel their surrounding light that's trying to come in. They don't feel like their destiny in front of them. Why are some people so hungry for more? Because that energy is surrounding them, embracing them, saying, receive me. I want to come in. And that's what creates hunger. That's what creates desire and passion. When people don't have desire or passion, it means that their surrounding light is far from them. Their destiny is far from them. So one of the ways to draw that into ourselves is just to start giving. As soon as you start giving stuff away, giving energy away, giving time away, giving money away, all of a sudden, new energy starts to surround you. And that awakens more desire and passion. We know that when people are giving, they're more excited about life. They feel energy, they feel purpose, they feel the Creator. When we're holding on, when we're cheap, when we're closed, when we're accumulating for ourselves, watch how desire starts to shrink, passion shrinks, and then there's apathy.
You know what? I would even take that advice and copy paste it to almost anything because, we titled today's show, How to Get Unstuck. That's really the quickest way to get unstuck is to give. That if you feel at any moment that you can't take it or that there is no answer or that it's not worth it give. Get in the car, find a homeless shelter or a soup kitchen,
Or spend time with your spouse. How about that? Sorry, honey, I gotta go. I'm going to a home. What about me? You never spend time with me. You can give in the home.
Okay, that's also true. But I'm just your spouse may be at work right now, and if that's the case, find a way to reverse the vacuum. Right? Rather than needing energy, wanting something else to fulfill you, you give, you push out, and you will be amazed to see what comes back at you.
The theme here is the most dangerous thing is when I'm in a place of lack and I'm starting to crave and I'm starting to need energy. We learn in Kabbalah that is the moment of tikkun, the moment of correction. And a person just has to stay strong and not go look to take energy. Because there are times when we feel great, everything's great. This is not why you came to the world. You came to the world for those moments when you feel the lack, you feel the apathy, you feel the need for instant gratification, you feel the need for lust, you feel the need for people to like you. This need, this hole inside must be corrected. And the best way to correct it is to realize that that's why I came to this world. If I can just stay strong now, not go back to my old patterns of instant gratification, plug in the certainty, because what's going to give me the strength is knowing that in the future I'll be happy. Right at this moment, I need to transform. This is the time of the work. That moment of transformation, as soon as you do it, it unlocks something, and then a beautiful energy comes in right after that. But most people, they run to some form of energy. They look to take outside energy.
Can we go there?
Where?
Can we talk about the silent killer?
What's the silent killer?
Flirting.
Oh. Okay, so you have under the relationship category some things that we wrote in the car on the way over here. We were talking about ways in relationships where people are takers of energy and they have addictions. Even if you're in a relationship or not in a relationship, this is one of the ways that the opponent, we call it the Satan. We said that.
Maybe name. if you say Satan, it sounds scarier than the opponent, right?
Yeah, opponent sounds like I'm playing tennis with an opponent. But
you're playing Zelda.
Zelda. Some 1986?
Yes, just so people know how old we are.
Okay. So in relationships, something we need to be careful about is that it says that the heart desires, when the heart is craving energy, it will use the eyes to steal that energy. And a lot of times we use our eyes to take energy from people in a romantic or sexual way, and how do you know that it's right or wrong? You just have to ask yourself, how do you feel 5 seconds after it happens? If you're doing anything in the relationship category, in the romance category, which has a high and then a low, it means it's pushing your soulmate away. It means it's hurting your future children or current children. It means it's damaging the soul. Anything that is a high and a low means that you're drawing energy and then you're losing that energy and it's going to the negative side. So we talked about the eyes. The eyes are a big one. Kabbalists say you have to be very careful where you put your eyes. Obviously, you can look for a moment, but it's the gawk, the gawk stare. Let's make it practical.
The ogling. Please don't ogle.
The double look.
Take.
Can't do the double take, right? Where it kind of just looks like what is ogling? Is that the eyes kind of like popping out of the head and you just feel this. And it's interesting because sometimes men or women feel it when they're being ogled at.
Of course.
Because there's an energy being stolen from their soul.
There's a lot, I often, I think that when you talk to somebody,
are you a victim of ogling?
Of course I am. Come on. No, I'm thinking there's a few situations I've worked with people over the past couple of years where, very high on their to-do list is soulmate, but they don't realize that by flirting with the ex that they don't want back but is still in their lives because, whatever reason, you live in a small community or it's someone at work or whatever it is, you do enjoy the fact that they're still looking. Right.
Sure.
You do enjoy the fact that, 100 people liked your bikini photo. You do enjoy, right? Your bikini photo, David. You know that you love people.
I love when I get the little likes on my bikini photo.
So the idea, and I think of it as almost like each person has a bank of light, and you know how you look at your bank statement. I don't know if this ever happens to the rest of you, but you look at your bank statement and it's lower than you think it should be.
Right.
And then you've got to backtrack and you've got to try and figure out there's a charge I agreed to, 6 months ago that finally kicked in today. Something happened there. If you are doing quote unquote everything right, you're putting yourself out there, you're doing all the right things, and yet what you desire is still not coming at you. Here comes David and Elisheva to say, guess what? You are causing a leak in the account by enjoying those little moments of being ogled, or texting with the ex, or finding. You enjoy the fact that your friend's boyfriend is looking at you like that. That it helps nobody. It not only helps nobody, it hurts you. So I think it's important to illustrate here how the opponent really puts on a great disguise. But it's not me. They're looking, right? I promise you that if you flip that inner switch, people would stop looking. Not because you're not beautiful or handsome or attractive or worthy, but because you have to dangle the carrot in order to be chased.
That's correct. That's correct. Something that I learned in the path that
wear a potato sack.
Wear a potato sack.
That may be a little bit extreme.
Somebody wrote that. Wear a potato sack.
But we're in the same line of thinking here.
Someone once told me that if your ex is still coming after, like if your ex is still thinking about you, it's because you desire them to think about you. And that's why you're still the cause of attracting that energy. Because we all know that when we put a wall on that energy, that it goes away. We don't have those kind of and
it's not about not wearing makeup or showing up in your pajamas.
It's an internal thing.
It's an internal thing, because you've seen people in their pajamas who are gosh darn attractive, and you've seen people without makeup who are, it's not about the external. It's that, again, that vibration, that frequency that you're vibrating at, that's asking for it. And, someone's asking here, I think, a beautiful question: how to protect yourself from men staring at you and attacking your social media when you're a public person, right? That when, let's say, your job requires you to put yourself out there, I don't know about what you think, David, but I would say the answer is the same.
What would you say? It's hard to give a blanket answer for this one. I would take it one person at a time. But what would you say?
I would say that there is, let's put it this way, you can't ask for recognition of certain qualities and not expect the others. Like if somebody said to you, listen, you have to, if you want to get, I don't know, David, well, let's pick on you. You want to put a consciousness out there. You want to put a social media post to wake people up. And if you do it in a bikini, 1 million more people will see it.
That's right.
But not for the right reason. So David puts on the bikini.
Hope there's not a bikini meme of me coming up on the show right now.
Just wait for it. So
Are you
David,
editing it now?
And I'm not, and I'm obviously, I don't even know the person that's asking. I'm just putting it out there that there is some aspect of the process where you would be looking for validation, whether it's validation on your body, recognition for maybe you're looking for recognition that you have it all. You're not only spiritual and smart, you also know how to wear a Speedo. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's something that is, what's the word? Desire to receive for the self alone,
Yes.
energy. I'm not
Yes.
saying it's sexual necessarily,
Yes.
but there's some sort of desire for energy that's not for the sake of sharing in the background there. And it may be somewhere 20 years ago when you started on the journey and now you don't even remember it, that needs to be, like we said before, an internal switch that will prevent that backsplash of the negativity of men. And I believe that there is a way, maybe it's Instagram filters to make things look less less detailed. I don't know what it is, but I know from experience, from using this technique, that when you flip that switch, it really does stop. That whatever it is, and again, it's not necessarily about looking for someone to flirt with or looking for compliments about one's physical appearance. It may just be, the fact that I have so many followers does make me feel good about myself, and that's it looks like it's a addition, but it's really subtraction.
Right. We don't want to tell people what to do or not to do. What we want is for people to have the consciousness of how energy works. And I think the theme of what we're saying, oh, you got that open.
I got it. I feel like we're in Bermuda doing the show on the beach and it's like 90 degrees.
I'm getting it.
In your bikini.
That's right. That's where all right. So, gosh, what was the last thing I said?
I'm so distracting today, aren't I?
Oh my gosh.
No, that you were saying that you wouldn't give a point blank answer about anything, but there is something energetic there.
The theme of what we're talking about is what's going on inside of you. What's going on inside your thoughts? What's going on inside your desires? And part of transformation is to transform some of those internal nagging fears, holes we have in our soul.
That's where the leaks come from.
That's where the leaks come from. And what they do is they hijack our consciousness and they make us do things, attract certain things, want certain things that ultimately are destructive for us. They don't allow us to focus. If I'm looking for approval from the opposite sex, that's distracting towards what I'm hoping to achieve, which is to become like the creator and manifest. Right. I have fears. So your fears are always going to slow everything down. It's going to be like sludge. Your fears, the doubts, the worries, all that does is it slows everything down. And what we're saying is we got to take responsibility. If I'm attracting a certain type of movie, a certain type of abuse, a certain type of...
Some repetitive pattern
that is unfavorable, it has to do with something that's going on inside my head. Something that's going on that I'm trying to redeem that little boy that was not loved, or trying to find a way to get energy that I didn't once have, without realizing I don't need to take it from the world. I need to start to develop that relationship with the Creator, knowing that the Creator is the only force that is going to be constant in our lives. And we learned about this. Anyone you depend on for energy eventually must be taken away from you.
Right. That was that beautiful story at the end of the show a couple weeks ago that you shared.
Skinny cat. No.
That you had the student that wrote about how she wanted to get the energy from her mother. She didn't get it. She went to her brother. Then she went to her brother. On them.
That's right. This is huge. This is a big thing, and it always worries me as soon as I start to depend on something or someone as a source of my happiness. I realize that I'm going to lose that person or that thing. So I have to switch the relationship. Instead of needing them for happiness, they are someone in my life that I can give to and forge a relationship with. Not necessarily I need you, and without you, I'm nobody. It's very dangerous to have someone like that in your life that you put on a pedestal and you worship. Very important to acknowledge that and switch the energy to a higher energy, which is our relationship with the Creator.
Right. And the fact is, I mean, I think this is not even a spiritual concept, but, what's sexier, confidence or insecurity, right? Are you going to be attracted to somebody who is, and I shouldn't even use the word sexy. You are looking for somebody to, you're at a job interview and the person who's interviewing you is going to be your boss and they're insecure and you can barely hear them and they're nervous and that, they're busy fixing their, how do they look and da-da-da. Is that the type of person you want to learn from? Or do you want to learn from someone who is confident, again, not arrogant, but at least, you get that feeling that they recognize the light force of the Creator within them, and that's why they're radiant. Not because they think they have beautiful white teeth or whatever else it is.
I want to give a shout out to the men out there in the world, and spoken to a lot of men who have this belief system that they always... I've heard of this, and you know that this could be you if you're hearing it. Sometimes the guys tell me the only way to have a balanced life, to have a balanced marriage, is not to expect all of that from your partner, but it's okay to have a relief.
Pardon me while I grab the air sickness bag. I'm going to check out for the rest of the show.
Believe it or not, it's more common than not for at least the men that I talk to. I haven't polled the ladies, but for the men that I talk to, they say, you know what? The only way I can really be a good husband and be a good father is it's okay if once in a while I have things on the side. that bring me pleasure and give me energy. And that can take many different levels. That could be anywhere from...
It doesn't have to be human.
It doesn't have to be human.
Thank you.
It could be virtual.
Yeah, yum. Yum.
You said yum?
Yum.
That's
Keep going.
That's the response.
I'm going to be quiet
And
now.
I'll just say something about that although it seems logical, it could make sense logically. What you have to know is that is a test for something much more powerful. And I'm not saying it's easy to get to that powerful place. But if you can overcome that addiction, the sages tell us that there's a reason why having only one partner can elevate you to the highest level. Because it forces you to take responsibility for certain addictions that otherwise we're not dealing with. And we think, well, I have a little relief here and there. I get little this here and little this there. And now I can actually feel like I have enough strength to come home.
Can I be spiritual for a moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, the women are out there going, say, please be spiritual. This goes back to one of those Kabbalah one cornerstone ideas that the physical reality is simply a reflection or a manifestation of the spiritual reality. What does that mean? That even monogamous relationships are a representation of the spiritual relationship between the light and the vessel, between the creator and the creation. And so there's one source in that relationship, and therefore we are created to have one partner, not multiple partners. So when you realize that, I think it's a very lofty concept to think that, well, human beings are simply expressions of the creator, and it's a very abstract idea, but it makes sense that if there's only one creator and I start worshiping, I have one partner, but I start worshiping little idols,
multiple
the god of rain and the god of the harvest and the god of the sun, I'm sort of denying the fact.
Julie, Jacqueline, and Jessica.
Okay. Whatever, David. I'm trying to make this spiritual. So then you realize, well, you wouldn't do that, right? You understand that there's one omnipotent force in the universe, and I wouldn't pretend that I wouldn't go worshiping the god of grapes if I want my wine to taste better in the evening. This, in the same way, you can't expect to get energy from, those small idols in your life and have that strong and ever-growing connection with, quote unquote, the one source.
I've had a lot of guys try to convince me why having multiple partners is actually the only real thing that will bring joy. And I will say, and I'm not saying that's a wrong lifestyle, by the way. I think sometimes if that's what you feel is the only way, that's the only way. That's what the creator wants, whatever. But if guys come to me and say, I want it all.
The creator wants people to have multiple partners.
That's different. The creator
You
wants...
did not hear that. We're going to bleep that out.
It's not black or white. The creator's not saying you're bad, you're good. That's kind of what I'm saying.
That's true.
I think if a person's asking me, how do I get the most? How do I get maximum energy? The reality of being committed to one person and dealing with all the little lacks you have because of it and transforming those lacks will take you to the highest level possible, versus when you don't like Julie, you go to Jessica. When you don't like Jessica, you go to Janet. When you don't like Janet, you go so on and so forth. Because I think that's what people do. When they're having a hard time one area, instead of going into it, going deep and connecting with the person and transforming themselves, they look for energy elsewhere. And that is what's causing people to actually not rise to the highest part of their destiny. That's kind of the point we're making.
Absolutely. And there's obviously other ways to shortchange yourself when it comes to energy, getting energy. We can have 18 other shows about that. We happen to go down this avenue because it is one of those silent plagues, I would call it, that people think, well, I'm doing everything else right, and why isn't my business going to the next level? It's in the physical world, we may see work, relationships, health, spirit. We may see everything compartmentalized, but those compartments don't exist in the world of energy. Energy is energy is energy. So that if you have a leak in one compartment, it's going to affect the other compartments. And
if your kid's getting bullied at school, it could be because you have Janet, Jessica, and Julie. Just wanted to make that.
Wow, that's a bumper sticker. That's a bumper sticker, and you heard it here first. As always, we look forward to your comments and questions whether you can post them on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. You can also email us at energyboost@kabbalah.com. We've gotten a few really great suggestions for things we can weave into upcoming show topics, so we'll get to those as we can. You can also subscribe to our podcasts on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Castbox, or Stitcher. But your subscriptions and your reviews really help us reach many more people, so we thank you for sharing and posting and reposting and tagging and doing all the amazing things you guys do. We will see you next Monday on the Weekly Energy Boost.